This is Chapter 1, Lesson 1, about using variables. In this section, there's 4 vocab words that you need to know: variable, expression, equation, and model. A variable is a symbol, usually a letter that represents a number. An expression is a mathematical phrase that contains numbers, variables, and operational symbols. While an equation is a mathematical sentence that uses an equal sign. So if we're in the world of language arts, you can think of an expression as more like a fragment. It's not all there, where an equation's an actual sentence. It's a complete sentence. And then the word model means to turn words into some sort of mathematical relationship. The 2 objectives for this lesson are that you can model relationships with variables and that you can model relationships with equations. So let's first do modeling with variables. So write an algebraic expression for each phrase. That just means take these words and turn them into some math symbols. 7 more than n. So when I read this here, more than, that leads me to think that I am going to have to add. So 7 more than n, just some number n, and I want 7 more. So n plus 7. Think if you have 5 coins and your sister has 7 more than them, you'd take 5 plus 7 and add them together. The difference of n and 7. Remember, the word difference is fancy language for subtraction. So if I have n and I want to subtract 7, n minus 7. The product of 7 and n. Hopefully you're remembering that product means multiplication. So we can write this as n times 7, or we normally write it as 7n without a symbol in there. And then the quotient of n and 7. Remember, this word quotient here means divide. So of n and 7 means I want to take n and divide it by 7. Or you could write it n divided by 7. Same thing. Define a variable and write an algebraic expression for each phrase. So this one we have 2 parts. When you read 2 times a number plus 5, we don't know what this number is. But it says define a variable. So that means pick your favorite letter. Doesn't matter what it is. Let's choose F for France. Define a variable and write an algebraic expression. So 2 times this number F plus 5. We're going to write it out just like that. 2 times the number F plus 5. 7 less than 3 times a number. We have that again. Choose your favorite letter. Let's pick W. 7 less than 3 times this W. Be very careful here. 7 less than that means that we want to do 3 times W, and whatever that is, take away 7. We want 7 less. All right, the second part. Modeling with equations. We need to define variables and write an equation this time to model the situation. So an equation, remember, means that we have to use an equal sign. If it doesn't have an equal sign, it's just an expression. So the total refund is the number of cans times 10 cents. So we have a couple things going on here. The 2 things that we don't know are the total refund and the number of cans. So give them letters. Let's say R stands for refund and C stands for cans. So the total refund is the number of cans times 10 cents. Remember that the word is means equals, and times, that one's pretty self-explanatory, that means multiplication. So there you go, there's your equation. The total refund equals the number of cans times 10 cents. And you could obviously write this as R equals 10 cents times C. Either one works. Next problem, the perimeter of a square is 4 times the length of the side. So the 2 things we don't know are the perimeter of the square and the length of the side. So let's define some variables. Let's use P for perimeter and L for length. And then we have some more keywords in here again. Is, remember, means equals. and times needs multiplication. So we have the perimeter equals 4 times the length of the side. So this one's a little trickier. How many slices of pizza are left after a few have been eaten from a 10-slice pizza? So the couple things we don't know is how many slices are left, and then how many have been eaten. So let's use L for leftovers and E for eaten. So if I want to know how many are left, after a few have been taken away from 10, we have the number of slices left has to equal the 10 that we started with minus however many people have eaten. Now the last one's going to switch things up again. We're going to write an equation for the data in this table. So we got to notice what's going on here. Somehow 2 tickets cost 14 bucks. 3 tickets cost 21, 5 cost 35, and 10 cost 70. Hopefully you realize that this is a multiple of 7, that we're going to take however many tickets we have and multiply it by 7 to get the total cost. So again, to find your variables, the two things we don't know are the number of tickets and the total cost. And we have, for the first one, the cost is 2 tickets times the $7. Next one, $21 would be 3 tickets times the 7. So we're going to replace the T and the C here. So the total cost equals 7 times however many tickets I buy. Alright, that's all of our notes. So can you do the two things that you were supposed to be able to do? Can you meet these objectives? Can you model relationships with variables? You should be able to do this problem. And then can you model relationships with equations? We will go over these problems as well as your examples that you put up here tomorrow in class. So make sure you fill those two things out.